Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to another exciting episode of LT Showcase. I am Lucious T, and today we are taking a look at the first GameCube game I've done in several years, and it's the legendary Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. So let's not waste any time, let's check it out.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is Retroactive.
Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. Man, sometimes it's just so nice getting to finally play through a game that you've been wanting to get to for years. I've played Mario RPG, I played Paper Mario on the N64, and I even played Super Paper Mario on the Wii when I didn't even own a Wii. But somehow, Thousand-Year Door eluded me. In fact, I didn't even know this game existed, probably because I was likely dick deep in World of Warcraft when it came out. But even more of a surprise, it's made by Intelligent Systems, the people who made Fire Emblem, and I should have known I was going to love this game, which, spoilers, I did. Now, it is also hard playing through a Paper Mario and not being like, yeah, it's an RPG, but man, do I miss Mario RPG as far as the depth of the mechanics, because the RPG fight system in this game is very, very light. First of all, you only have a party of 2, you always have Mario, you have a magic point system called Flower Points, but those are for both players at the same time, so they have the same pool. The game only ends if Mario dies, if one of your partners dies, you can actually summon one of the other ones, and you can swap the partners out in the battle, of which you end up getting 6 by the end of the game. And this is no cheapy game either. It took me 40 hours legitimately to beat it. You know, there might be a few hours of pause here and there, as in, like, I left the game running. But yes, 40 hours through and through. And it is very, very intelligently written and very smartly designed. I did not get stuck once. I always knew where to go. I always could figure out where to go. I will say that the later jump mechanic was not that great, but so essentially, the Thousand-Year Door is underneath this place called Rogueport. Rogueport, Princess Peach goes to, finds a map, sends it to Mario, then gets kidnapped by someone who's not Bowser. And that's what's also funny, is Bowser is in this game, but he's not really in this game, because in between each one of the crystal stars, so there's 7 crystal stars that were used to seal the Thousand-Year Door. And so you have to get all 7 of them so that you can essentially open up the crystal or the Thousand-Year Door to get the treasure that's inside. At least that's what the rumor is, but there's actually more to it than that. I won't tell you that though, because play the game. It's really good. Fortunately, it's really expensive, but yeah, play the game. But Bowser and Peach each have these little interludes between getting a crystal star. So you'll complete Chapter 1, get the first star, and then you'll play as Peach for a time, where she interacts with Tech, the computer, and then you'll go to Bowser, who is working with his Koopa magic witch friend. I think it's Kamea or Karen, whatever. And he's just terrorizing the countryside, getting to all sorts of hijinks, and it's hilarious. Like I said, the writing in this is super funny and super intelligent, and all around, all the locales are unique. You have a nice section where you're playing with a bunch of little Pikmin creatures. So you can tell this came out in the early 2000s because the second Crystal Star, you have to control these little things called Cunies, which are obviously Pikmin. They have the same thing on top. And everyone calls Mario by the wrong name. It's kind of a running gag throughout the game. So he's Mardio, he's the Great Gonzalez. There's even a guy who calls him Luigi. And speaking of Luigi is hilarious in this game because he's going on his own quest at the same time as yours. And it's so ridiculous. It's he's looking for Princess Eclair from the Sandwich Kingdom or something ridiculous, and he has to go find the magic compass and all the pieces. But when you think about it, it sounds just as preposterous as the story you're on, where you have to get a bunch of crystal stars to open up a door. And other RPGs too. So I'd actually like to see them turn it into a real game, because he goes and you see him between each star. So each star you get ends the chapter. You go back to the main hub, which is Rogueport, You go put the star in the 1,000-year door pedestal, and then it shows you the location of the next star, and then you have to figure out how to get there. So it's very smartly organized, where you have rogue port section, crystal star section, complete, rogue port, and rinse and repeat until you get to the end of the game. And Luigi in each section tells you the story, and then he has a companion that's very similar to one of your companions who'll tell you the real story. The funniest one was the blooper who got burned to a crisp when he's like, "Oh yeah, I got it, bro," and Luigi calls you bro all the time, which is pretty funny. But yeah, everything about the game is fun. The different characters, you even get a name, the little baby Yoshi you get in Glitzville. I call him Barry Jr., which is funny because at the end of the game he starts calling himself the Great Gonzalez Jr., because that's your name when you wrestle, is the Great Gonzalez. And just all around, the combat system though, like I said, there's not much to it. So it's very timing based, but there's no like the timing based of it is the whole combat, because every single move has a certain button prompt you have to do in order to get more damage. But it also essentially is just, it becomes the game, because you don't do much damage in the game. You get these things called badges that let you increase your damage, or will give you extra moves, or your partners will get extra moves or other perks. I found the best use for those was to give yourself more damage. And you also, when you level up, you can give yourself more badge use, you can give yourself more flower points, or you can give yourself more health. So by the end of the game, I was rocking close to 55 health, and I think 45 flower power, and 32 maybe badge points. But it's all like, it's best just to balance it out as you're going. And your partners don't level up. So the partners have to be powered up with the shine sprites you find. The shines from Mario Sunshine are in the game, and if you have 3 of them, you can power up your partner. And if you find a up arrow in the first castle later in the game, once you get the bomb buddy, then you can power them up a second time. And it looks like they might be able to be powered up a third time, but I never found that out. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it that much. There are a lot of little secrets here and there, but for the most part, it's just extra shrines. It's just extra stuff. In that regard, like items and whatnot. But the battle system is fun because you're on a stage, and as you are playing, you can do things called style points that will make the crowd go wild and add more people in your crowd. And then periodically, people in the crowd will throw you benefits or will hit you with attacks. And then things from the actual stage will fall over. So if you use too many hammer attacks, the stage will fall over and hit you guys and the enemies. Or the lights will fall from the ceiling and confuse you. Now you can do a timing with the button prompt on defense, so you can time to reduce the damage, or you can do a better timing to essentially reflect the damage, which is the most fun part of the game as far as that goes. But it's also, once you get to the later enemies, becomes very difficult. It becomes even difficult to do the normal one. And as far as adding more damage to it on the attack side, I found that I would always like to use Goombella because she could do a move called Tattle, which is essentially spy on the enemy. Tells you how much health they have and everything, and then after that you know how to deal with them. But really, the only time I died the entire game in a combat scenario was on the final battle. Because other than that, you can get through it pretty easily. Now that's not a bad thing. It really isn't. The strength of this game is the whole. The combat is fun and all, but it's really the characters, it's really the story, the locales. They have some great areas you're going to. I mean, you start off with a classic Mario-style castle, then you're going to this cool, weird, surreal-looking Pikmin world. After that, you have the arena fight, and then you go to a place that's all in darkness. The last two aren't as inspired. You have a island setting, and then a train setting, which is pretty fun, and it follows up with a snow setting where you go to the moon. But yeah, it's all over the place. Really fun game. It's a shame it's so expensive because it definitely should be played. It's a GameCube must-own, I'd say. If I was gonna give it a rating, I gotta give it a 9.25. Solid pickup. So that's your review. Pick it up, play it. That's your homework.